All the time. And on sunny days, it almost felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright.
That surprised you, Grace?
It was a factory. I thought it would be dark and dirty.
Didn't want to go to work there.
I was 15. It was time I paid my own way.
Pay your own way? What about school?
Oh, I didn't miss it so much. The girls were all so nice, and the work wasn't hard. It wasn't like factory work, really. It was more like art, painting and styles. We were artists.
I'm not really the one you should be talking to. Von Shishaki, he's the one you should talk to.
Now, Arthur, you know he will talk to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about that process, Arthur. You used a powder.
We used a powder. The girls mixed it with an adhesive to make the paint. But that business with the brushes, I didn't invent that. They were doing that when I started there.
But you knew about it.
We all knew about it. We just didn't realize what it meant.
Is that bad?
Not for us.
She's gonna be sitting in this room all day by herself, checking dials in the dark.
Poor thing.
Poor thing.
So, we're gonna give her a little surprise.
Oh, my goodness, shut your cat.
We'll go make her mad.
Oh, let her get mad.
That's half the fun.
I don't want to make her mad.
Oh, Grace, you have to get away about everything.
What way?
Your nose, Grace. In your nose.
And it ain't like Amalia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on the floor and can't be bothered to talk to you either. You say, hey Amalia, what's new? She just looks at you funny.
I don't think she can speak much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile, would it? Just go like.
Now! Oops. Mrs. McNeil!
Pick me your face. Have you gone off your mind? It was just a joke. Just a joke? I joke like that because it was a girl with a job.
No, Miss McNeil, I'm sure that's not necessary.
I don't try. No foolishness, Doctor.
Yes, foolishness is something we don't want, do we? Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room. All the dials that are painted come here. And these are some of the girls who should be on the floor working. Girls, this is Mr. Reader. My new vice president, your new plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reed what fine rich girls we have here. You must now think I'm halfway out of my mind.
Mr. Reader, perhaps you want to have some words with the girls. Yeah.
Well, girls, this paint you've been playing with is very expensive. You realize this. It takes several tons of ore to produce a single gram of radium. That's a lot of work. Hard work for the men at the extraction plant, but they do this work gladly. Do you understand why? Why they work so hard, what we are all working for?
The war?
That's right, the war. The dials you paint save lives, girls. Our boys in the field depend on them to read them in the dark, no mistaking what they see. Otherwise, some of those boys won't be coming home. So if you play around and don't take the work seriously, well, you're playing for the hands of the coyotes, and we don't want that, do we?
No.
So let's leave the tomfoolery to home and get back to work.
Mr. Reader, I just wanted to say I am so sorry, and I won't do anything like this ever again.
Well, dear, just keep this in mind. If you do right by us, we'll do right by you.
May 13, 1921, 1900 for the New York Graphic. The New York Graphics only go a quarter.
us first. Source for news.
Eminent French scientist Madame Marie Curie embarks on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, where she's greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The high priest of science headed for Washington to receive a gift of 1 gram of radium valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the members of the Madame Curie Radium Club, an association of 100,000 American women.
Each gave $1 in support of humanitarian research with radium.
Grace, over here! Irene, look! I got my certificate. Marie Curie Radium Club.
You gave $1?
It's all for science.
Science, what about my women board?
Oh, look, there she is! Welcome all, welcome all. Now I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, to please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhaustive tour of the country, and she's under strict doctor's orders to rest, although in typical fashion of a scientist and only doing her research, her life's work, she's refused to rest.
Madame Curie, what will you do with the radium?
Huh?
What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find the better method for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer? Yes, cure for the cancer, that is so. It has already cured all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Then you do not understand the matter. It's no questions. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madame Curie,
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie, how you manage to devote your life to both science and your children?
It has not been easy, but my daughter shared my gratitude to the American woman for the interest in science and my work, and I'm most grateful.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie.
Madame Curie.
No more questions. Madame Curie's on a tight schedule. Miss Andrew Carnegie has sent a car and will personally escort her, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
Do you see that, Charlie? This is a marketing opportunity. Let's send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy the United States Radium Corporation.
We'll need a press release.
Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share in its glory every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks. Anyone who thinks that these are just novelties, consider all the other advances that have taken place in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph,
The telephone.
the automobile. Inventions all once dismissed as novelties, as toys.
Are now essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely, but that's not where the growth is now, Charlie. You heard the lady, it's the medical market.
And Standard Chemical owns it.
Only because Von Shishaki lets them take it. If we wanted to, we could get half of their business. It's just a matter of positioning.
Standard Chemical sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly that the doctors would respect.
A bibliography listing every article ever published on radium.
But with capsule reports to save the doctor's time. They get the information, find it fast.
Have us to thank for
We'll
it.
send it to every doctor in the U.S. Radium Society.
Every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That's the spirit, Charlie. It's advertising. That's the wave of the future. It's not just the product. It's the way you promote it.
Oh, great. You should see. The church was filled with flowers, lilies and carnations. Oh, and orchids. And you know how Molly used to love orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
Those were orchids to me. Flags, orchids. I know an orchid when I see one. Oh, and Grace, and the smell. The smell was like,
Like flowers?
no, like heaven. Yes, I was gonna say, it was like heaven.
Like heaven happened, it was just a funeral. You make it out like it was a big Valentino picture.
It wasn't a funeral. It was harmonious, and it was beautiful. Grace, you should have seen it. The church was like the botanical gardens, and the company sent a big spread of flowers too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations. Those were mums.
Well, it sounds like a nice service anyhow.
Cross Rosa. Listen, ready, gone.
Now, going back to the old days when we were wretched, we didn't have too much paper. Yes, Grace, something you wish to say?
But Dr. Von Sonntag told us not to do that. He said it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary would hardly be say such a thing. If you're doing it this way as long as I've been here, you must have misunderstood him. I knew not to get new brushes till it's done with the old, and I got to be so bad that I could point no more.
Kimmy, why like that?
Well, you do your best then, since I have my instructions. I need a new brush. And it's not for us to be asking the questions, is it? It's for us to do the work.
I have my instructions. I have my instructions.
I have an instruction for you, McNeil. What's in starch of your corset? Was she at the service? McNeil, are you kidding? You think she'd cross the street for her own mother?
Most everybody else was though. It was about the only girl on the floor who wasn't there.
I wanted to, but Mom was working and I had to help with the little ones.
You could have brought him.
All 7?
Well, if it was me, I would have tried to get there.
Just lay off. Grace feels bad as it is.
Were many of the fellas there?
Oh yes, lots of fellas from downstairs. Mr. Ruth from the front office, Dr. Sasha, he was there, and Mr. Reader.
And he left early.
So, he was there about like the whole time. Oh, and Grace, you know that fella from crystallizing?
Oh, the tall fellow with the freckles?
That's the one who snaps his fingers all the time.
George.
Jerry.
I think it's George.
It's Jerry. Jerry Milan, the one who's always talking to Amalia in the day room.
Oh, and Grace, and when the mass was over, he goes over to the couple, and he goes like this.
No.
Yes. Really? For pity's sake.
Well, he did. Nobody could believe it.
So what if he did?
That's so what? He was in love with her. Don't you think so, Grace?
I mean, he had to have been if he did
Oh,
that.
and can you imagine? Can you imagine if he loved her so much, but he never could bring himself to say it because he was so shy and she was so beautiful, and now their love is forever thwarted, and he'll never ever get a chance again. Poor Amalia.
Poor Amalia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful backwards. Albina, Quinta, everybody, almost all of them crying, and even her father crying so bad, just bawling like a baby.
Ooh, and you know why too? Because her daughter had died. What she died from?
Irene, don't go spreading the stories.
It's not a story. Albina told us. No reason Grace should know.
Know what? Know what? Amalia?
Ain't it awful? Albina said her father fit to be tied to. 6 girls at home, and ain't none of them ever going to a dance again.
All because Amalia Upton died from syphilis.
But Amalia was ever so nice.
Guess she got her in more than we knew.
And it's on the death certificate, so it's true.
Anemia and complications from syphilis.
Shh. You don't know that for sure. Maybe the doctors are wrong. Doctors are wrong sometimes.
Come on.
Well, that's true. I mean, doctor was wrong about Aunt Irene. Did you remember Irene? After the day when she died, doctor said she'll be fine, and all she needed was to take a cup of tea and a good night's rest. But 2 days later, we was taking her to Rosedale Cemetery.
Girls! The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Thank you, Mrs. McNeil. Girls, we are here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to explain some changes, yes?
Yes, as some of you may have heard by now, Dr. Von Shishaki is stepping down, and he'd like to take this opportunity to tell you about...
To make with goodbye, some of you girls have been working here so long, working here day after day at these benches, 200, 300. Some of you, 500 dials a day. So excited to be part of our work here. When I started this company, mixing up these paints in my own kitchen, I knew I had found something miraculous to make life better, easier. Now, what do I read? More and more uses are there for the radium, more than I ever dreamed possible.
Thank you, doctor.
Yes, thank you, doctor. Now, girls, the doctor is a very busy man, and he must be on his way, so let's wish him the best of luck in his new business ventures. Very good then, girls.
And to wish Mr. Reader the best of luck with the new direction he intends to take this company.
New direction?
With the slowdown in dial painting
Now, doctor.
and going into the medical market, there's going to be changes.
What the doctor is referring to is some of our larger customers are setting up their own dial painting studios. In the short run, things may be slower here. However, the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut will need help setting up its own studio. We were intending on making the announcement next week. We'll make it now, Mrs. McNeil.
Oh, we're going to send some of you on up there.
The work is supervisory in nature, which means more pay. You had a few girls in mind?
Yes. Louise Collins is one, Lena McCarthy, Sarah Deutsch, and Catherine Shaw. I have the entire list downstairs. Post it today?
Fine. Well, there you have it, girls. Now, as we are all on the clock, we'll leave you to your work.
Thank you, ladies. My best wishes to all of you.
That's back to work with you girls.
Are you gonna do it, Catherine? Are you gonna take the job?
Would you, Grace? Would you go to Connecticut?
Oh, I don't know. It's so far away, and Tommy would have a fit.
Come on, Grace. It'll be fun. Wouldn't it be fun, Irene? Irene?
Irene? Honey, are you alright?
Huh? Yeah, why wouldn't I be?
Your mouth is bleeding.
She only ever wants to count the steps. 18 is right and she stops to abide by the law that she has set. That 18 steps is one complete set, and for the next 9 right and 9 left. She looks up at the blue and whispers to all of the above. Don't let me drown. Don't breathe alone. No kicks, no pangs, no broken bones. Never let me sink. Always feel at home. No sticks, no shanks, and no stones. Never leave it to
$35 a week and she cooks the place.
More to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom. But when you and Grace have a house full of kids underfoot, you'll be thankful for every dollar you can buy.
We got money put by.
How much?
Enough to get married on.
It don't take much to get married on. Do you have enough to stay married on?
You let us get married and we'll find out.
Are you still eating, Tommy?
It's good.
You're gonna get fat.
He works so hard for his money. He's got to keep him strength.
Don't start, Mom.
You should have seen him, Tom, when he found out Grace ain't working no more. Most girls with their eyes teeth for a job like that. Good money, easy work, nice with fellas around the place.
You didn't tell me about that, Grace.
There wasn't that many of them. Didn't seem worth the mention.
And she quits the place for reasons unknown. I'm tired of the She says, are you tired of the paycheck? I said, who leaves me a paycheck? She said, when I got me a boyfriend, take me out on Saturday.
She said that?
Oh, you know I didn't. And for your information, I got a job. I was at the bank on Monday.
Oh, the bank thing. Oh, what's the pay?
Enough.
Enough? Always enough. You even know what that means, Tom. It doesn't come close with the pay up the radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work? Guess it means you're spending more clothes.
Boy, she is really steamed at you.
I don't know what for, so long as I'm working somewhere.
Don't make a difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Sure, I liked it. I worked there for 4 years.
So, I've been living now for almost 8 years. Hang on, keep on going. Another 20 or 30 years, if I'm lucky. Don't like good work and steady pension to help me sleep at night.
I don't have a pension, and I sleep just fine.
Yeah, I know, you do. So, how can you quit, Grace?
Lots of girls are quitting, and work is slow. And ever since Irene left, it's just not as much fun. And wouldn't you rather have a girlfriend who works at a bank?
Not as much as like to have a wife, don't work at all.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, want me to pull the shades?
Not that kind of surprise. Close your eyes. Now look!
Wallpaper?
For the baby's room.
Baby's room? You won't kiss me, you're talking about babies?
There's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, but you know, Grace, most girls, they get married before they leave the nursery.
Ugh, on ahead for one. Pick one.
They're both the same.
No, they're not. This one has little flowers and this one has big flowers. So pick one.
This one.
Really?
The other one, then.
But I want you to like it
If
too.
you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper is wallpaper.
No, it's not. You have to pick something you have to bear to look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick women.
Keep it up, smarty pants. You will never get that kiss.
Alright, this one hands down.
I like it too. A nice neutral yellow that can go with a boy or a girl. And you know, before the baby comes along, we can use the room for other things.
Oh yeah? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe.
A painting studio, maybe. Didn't you get enough painting to work?
Not that kind of monster, Tommy. At school, I used to paint watercolors, and ever since working and helping with Mom, I just have no time. I was thinking maybe when we get married, I could have just a little time to myself. I could paint oils or portraits in oil. I can paint your picture if you like.
Yeah, paint my picture. Paint a big picture of me. We'll hang it in the outhouse, and all our friends will come by just to look at it.
All the way you talk sometimes.
You want to paint pictures? Grace, paint pictures. I ain't gonna stop you.
You say that now, Tommy, but once we're married, you'll change your tune.
Yeah, I'll be whistling Dixie.
Wait, one night you'll come home, some Christmas baby, and maybe you had 3 times the mail, and maybe some dog she tapped you, and maybe some old lady kept you waiting, ranting to you about her grandkids, and you didn't have the heart to tell her you couldn't talk. I know you. So you walk in all cranky and cold, ready for your dinner, and there I am with my paints and my easel and a drop box on the floor with no dinner in sight. What would you say then?
Better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say. Where's my dinner?
Well, sure, but I'd still admire the painting. Just rather look at it on a full stomach, that's all. So, how'd I do? Pick the right wallpaper?
I don't know. Maybe I'll go with stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, it don't matter, Grace. Let's just get married. You're plenty old enough. Tell your mom we ain't waiting anymore. Let's just run off.
We are not running off, Tommy. We're going to do this right. A nice church wedding with music and flowers and dancing, and then a week at the seashore, just us, and then we'll start at a place of our own. You'll see. They'll be worth the wait. Ow!
Your mouth hurt you?
Yeah, the doctor wants to pull another tooth in the back.
Well, what's a tooth?
Tra la la tra la tra la la tra la la tra la tra la la tra la la tra la tra la tra la la tra.
Hazel Kusher. Any connection to the others?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Knows how to write a good letter anyway, that lawyer. And she no longer works here. Left 6 months ago.
This makes 4 now.
3.
4 if you count the magic girl.
I wouldn't count her.
She worked here.
She also worked other places, and what she died from, you can't catch here. At least I don't think you can.
That's not funny, Charlie. Besides, that's just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to the idle talk when it comes to girls like that. From a large family, wasn't she? Italians. The conditions they live in, 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die from one disease or another. 3 then. And how many dead?
Only Miss Magic, but I haven't heard from her people.
It's too late for them anyway. The statute of limitations is 2 years, but Miss Kusher is a different story. She's in a position to make some trouble.
In all the years I've been here, no one has so much as slipped on the floor, and now
We're
this.
talking about 4 girls. Out of how many hundreds we've employed?
600, 700 over the years?
And some of them were sick when they got here. One girl he hired couldn't even climb up the stairs. Her father had to carry her up into the studio every morning.
It didn't matter to me how she got up the stairs. She was a fast worker and a very sweet little girl.
She was in poor health.
She needed the work. And not just for the money, to feel productive, to have a purpose. That's what work does, Charlie. It gives us a purpose. So I don't see any reason why we should stop hiring girls like that.
When she gets sick and tries to blame us for it, you might want to reconsider that policy.
Let's see what Dr. Drinker has to say.
Dr. Drinker? Some professor at the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He chairs the department and he's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think we're jumping the gun a bit, hiring him?
6 girls have quit this week, and Mrs. McNeil tells me there could be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
But it's never been like this. These girls, they're terrified. We have to do something to calm them.
Letting Drinker examine them? That sounds to me like a recipe for mass hysteria.
We'll say it's a routine physical, Edward.
Companies give physicals all the time.
Then Drinker will start next month.
In the meantime, I recommend we make an offer to Miss Kusher.
Settle?
There's no proof her problems are connected to us. If she sues, believe me, you won't like the publicity it brings. You think neither will your investors. You think this will affect the stock offering? Don't you?
Wonderful. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
We're not open at all. But if we give this girl something, it'll keep her quiet. It would be a condition of the settlement. Maybe we better do it.
Suppose that lawyer has a racket going. He finds sick girls and talks them into making suits, then we reward him for his larceny.
Unless Miss Kusher genuinely believes she got sick here. It could be like Charlie said. She comes from a large immigrant family, not well educated, not a lot of resources. A few $100s would make a big difference to a girl like that. Certainly. Pay some doctor's bills, buy some medicine.
From the sound of that letter, I don't think the girl has that long to live anyway.
So it would be a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
What do you think we should offer?
La la la
March 24th, 1924. Jack Young for the New York Ledger.
Nancy Jane Holland for the graphic. The New York graphics only. Go a quitter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients reported a significant abatement in their symptoms.
This is Jerry Michaels of the Bronx tells how radium water transformed her life.
My pain got so bad I could hardly bend over, while some reported only mild relief.
This poor, brave woman couldn't even bend down and kiss the little ones goodnight.
And I've got 3 of them. Let me tell you, they're a handful. Dr. Harrison Martland, Chief Medical Examiner of the Essex County, commented on the study.
Preliminary at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Martland?
I advise further study, further study.
Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radithor.
They told me it helped my rheumatism, so I took a bottle a day for a month. It wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
The test sample is questionably small.
At first, it felt like a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. But now, I drink a bottle a week just to maintain my health. I hang laundry and I scrub the kitchen floor just like I always have.
Dr. William J.A. Bailey of Orange, New Jersey, inventor of Radithor, reports strong demand for his product.
Dr. William Bailey of Orange announces sales of Radithor exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radioactivity is one of the most remarkable agents in medical science. I drink Radithor myself and can vouch for its power.
A bottle a day?
At $1 a bottle?
With every penny!
Yes, indeed. I myself was the picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radium water. Now look at me. I'm nearly 50 years old, but I have the energy of a man in his 30s.
You rather look like a man in his 30s.
Well, thanks.
A testament to the tonic's potency?
Or to the seller's creativity?
Radithor, it is perpetual sunshine.
And a perpetual money machine for its inventors.
Is there no end to what science can do?
love space, L-shaped, Tetris, title seeking, somewhere.
Maybe we should have made an appointment.
Don't need no appointment.
It's a busy place, Catherine. If you don't have an appointment, maybe you should make one.
Shouldn't need no appointment for this. I can't find anything under Schwab. No, it's on the Rudolph.
Rudolph?
The girl I am asking about, Irene Rudolph.
Did she file a complaint?
No, the dentist did.
The dentist?
Dr. Neff, Irene's dentist, he said she might have a fussy jaw and he was going to complain about it to the health department. But when I asked him, he said he hadn't heard nothing and it's been more than 6 months now.
Fussy jaw, you say?
Yes.
Maybe it's what the doctor said. Maybe it's a blood infection.
Yes, but what gave it to her? That's the thing. What was it from?
From dirt? You get infections from dirt.
From dirt. Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw went so bad, she couldn't eat nothing. And I can't believe it. Please. They're telling everybody that it's radium in that paint, but it's actually phosphorus that makes it glow.
Oh, honestly, Catherine, you can't really believe that.
You saw her, Grace.
Catherine, it was like you said, they'd have never let you work up there in the first place.
Sure, they shut the whole place down.
Shut it down? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know, the county?
Honestly, Grace, you're such an idiot.
Hey, talking to you that way.
She's just upset.
Upset. She's gone around the bend. She probably thinks there's something arsenic in drinking water. What next? They're gonna be, kidnapping babies and using them to soak the furnace.
You go ahead and laugh. But you won't laugh so hard when it's you coming here 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Catherine, it's just a toothache.
A toothache? That's how it all started for Irene, just a toothache. But you wait, Grace, you wait. You wake up one morning, your gut is hurting so bad you won't be able to open your mouth. So sick and weak, you won't be able to stand up.
Stop.
The pain is so bad, you won't be able to sleep and your face is gonna get so swollen, you won't be able to stand aside of yourself.
I said stop it! Grace is fine! Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph?
That's it.
She worked at the radium plant?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing.
Huh?
The company is in full compliance with all state health and labor regulations. They even ordered an analysis of the pain.
Who's Miss Young?
Really, miss?
Who is Miss Young?
That's the health officer, miss.
Paint is the harmless compound of radium and zinc.
As I was saying, there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
Guess we can get some lunch then.
I want to file another complaint.
They already did an
I
investigation.
want to file another complaint!
Catherine, I just don't see what good this is gonna do, making such a fuss this way.
Grace, 3 surgeries, and they wanted to cut her again. She finally said no because she knew what was left of her job, but it's so bad. The smell was terrible. And the worst of it is, I couldn't look at her. It was in the middle of the night when Irene died. And I couldn't be with her. I couldn't look at her.
Yeah, excuse me? Excuse me.
Can I have another form? My friend would like to file another complaint.
Another complaint. Is the girl still sick?
No, she died.
Wait right here.
Harriet, get back here! Harriet! Harriet! Oh, Harriet, you get down from that tree at once!
But I'm waiting for Papa!
Fine, when he gets here, I'll send him up after you.
There he is! Papa! Papa!
Harriet?
Harriet, you come down at once!
Papa, I can see clear to the church!
Oh, can you? Oh, do you see your grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse!
This is funny. She's enjoying herself.
Harriet!
Tell you what, if she has no one to shout to, she won't shout.
They can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Can they?
When she comes down, I want you to speak to her.
She's 9 years old, Diane.
And I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Time is on your side. In another year or two, she'll lose all interest in trees and develop a fascination with boys.
That's supposed to scare me.
And when that time comes, you'll be frantic because she no longer wants to climb trees.
What's this?
It's something to give you vitality.
You think I mean vitality?
That's what the bottle says.
Is it pure?
We're his supplier. You want to try it?
And if it'll give me vitality, how could I refuse? So, your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case.
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
Wait, let me guess. Wife's in the hospital with cancer.
Yes.
And husband's been laid off from, let's see, the brickyard?
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How did you know?
And Dad was around to see me yesterday. It is never enough with him just to have ordinary ambitions. You have to have a mission in life.
What did you do?
No, I have a business plan.
You can't tell me you wouldn't help this man if you could.
If I could, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
What about Dan Lehman?
Dad.
Maybe he could use some help.
In the laboratory, Dad needs trained technicians, not some bricklayer. Look, why don't you send him to Mrs. Middleton? Don't you women have a social club for things like this?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
Yes, the club takes an interest in such cases, but we're not an employment service either, which is why I thought you could help them.
You do love being married to the company president.
It has its advantages.
Ever think of trading it in?
Do you?
I got my shoes shined this morning, and while I sat there and watched the boy work, I thought, this is quite the enterprise. The work walks in, the work walks out, no inventory, no warehouses, no stock prices.
And you
no...
trade all of it in for your own shoe shine stand.
Fewer headaches that way.
It's one of those moods again. What is it this time? It can't be the market. It went up today.
Now you're reading the financial pages.
I have to entertain myself somehow. So what happened today? You're being very strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me you know.
It's nothing to tell. Really, this is going to be our best year ever.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening.
I'll get my checkbook.
What for?
For your bricklayer.
Bertie, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father says? A working man needs to work.
It wears on his soul not to work. Well, if it's a matter of his soul, that's different. Fine, I'll have you talk to Dan.
Bertie.
But I make no promises, Diana.
No promises. To your help.
My charms are me. You're a shark and swimming.
So, how long you had this drainage?
A week or two. It hurts something awful, Dr. Nat.
Anything else bothering you?
My feet and my back mostly.
You're back now. You've seen your regular doctor?
He says it's just nerves.
Nerves?
About my wedding and all.
This ain't no case of nerves. I hope you told him that.
Well, what do you think?
I think you better schedule that surgery.
Couldn't we wait till after my wedding?
You don't have that surgery. You won't have no wedding.
Huh?
Sprite, I want you to listen to me. Your jawbone is decaying. That's the black pus oozing out your gums. It's the bone itself.
That's impossible.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation from Cecile Drinker, Harvard University, enclosed is our report. Finally, we believe the trouble in your plant is due to the radium.
It can't be as bad as all that.
This can't be.
Put off that surgery and you will develop a septic condition.
The
It
blood-
could be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
Everything I got, I saved for my wedding.
Photographic films carried by employees show heavy fogging,
I got a suggestion for you.
and we suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant.
Go to the radium plant and explain your situation.
Go to the company?
We realize no proof can be offered at present.
Once they see what kind of shape you're in,
This is impossible.
they gotta feel obligated to help you out.
But in view of the material in the literature, it's a mistake. And the facts disclosed by our investigation,
I don't see how they could refuse.
we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
You really think they do that?
Charlie!
You got a moral obligation, don't you think?
I guess so.
Do it now. I'll get you paid.
He has to be wrong. That's all he's wrong. Charlie. He has to be wrong.
He must have overlooked something.
If we're suffering from a new ailment caused by the radium, it should occur generally throughout the plant.
I would expect.
Several hundred milligrams are in solutions at all time, in big vats. Several hundred milligrams are in the ore, several hundred in crystallizing.
The entire backyard is filled with tailings.
Radium is present in good amounts all over the property,
If it's the radium, then the incidence of illness should be highest in the laboratory.
and no one there is sick.
Then perhaps it's some combination of the radium with the zinc.
Or something peculiar to our plant alone.
A bacteria, perhaps, in the brushes.
It can't be the radium. There are dozens of application plants across the country. None have ever reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see the report.
Yes, I'm aware.
What are we going to do? This tears us to pieces. How do we answer them?
They want to see the report. We'll send them this.
1 page?
The most important page.
Drinker will never stand for this.
Drinker works for us. This is a proprietary report. What we do with it is our business.
The Department of Labor are
We just need time, just a little time.
They could shut us down for this.
Scientists, government men, they have no idea what it takes to run a company. Von Shishaki thought advertising was a dirty word. He laughed at the very idea of promotion. I can't tell you how many times I walked into that man's office and he turned a deaf ear to everything I told him. But Charlie, we showed him. We showed him, look at us. We are the world's largest single supplier of radium, the largest in the world. You know what it took for us to get here. Do you think that I'm just going to stand idly by and let our good name be dragged through the mud? Just trust me, Charlie.
He may contain the urge to run away, but hold it down so he goes and breathe blows. Shivers in your feet, with me again. Never kisses, or you ever send a postcard. Do you know where the walking go? They go on the lake. Way down the lead, they're like breakfast and sing along.
Dr. Flynn, it's awful nice of you to come out all this way.
Not at all, my dear, not at all.
I told my surgeon you were coming, so he gave me the results of my blood.
Excellent.
And so,
I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
it does?
That's what happens to an old man who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My feet and my back. I've had to wear a brace now for a while.
So I see. And this started before you left the company or after?
After I left, another girl I worked with, she died from it. Irene Rudolph?
Oh yes, terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
It's an ulcerative condition of the mouth, my dear.
I remember other girls who got sick in the paper. One girl I worked with got sent to a hospital in New York, and they still don't know what's wrong with her. They've never seen anything like it.
Miss Fryer, don't tell me you pay any attention to the papers. Those stories are not scientific.
They're not?
Those hoarders are not scientific. They do not follow scientific methods. They write to sell, not to educate. The scientist is not concerned with what sells. He is concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an understanding of intricate natural processes that most people could never even presume to comprehend. You would do well to listen to science and ignore the nonsense that is written in the papers. Because I can tell you right now, radium has nothing to do with what's ailing you.
It doesn't?
Not in the least.
Then what is ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do in the winter.
Raw meat as well. Raw calves, liver particularly. Cook it if you must, eat it twice a week at a minimum.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Flynn.
Of course, my dear. Call me anytime, day or night.
Dr. Frederick Flynn, PhD, University of Columbia Physiology. PhD? That man is not a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
Every girl he sees is the same thing. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood is better than mine, he says.
An objective evaluation, I trust.
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
I can't believe someone would do something like that. Should have lied to your face like that.
Nothing surprised me.
It's just like what you said, Catherine. They'll do anything. They'll say anything.
Except the right thing.
But we'll show them. We'll make sure somebody hears about this.
And how are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted reveal no adverse effects of radium. The problem, as you suggested, is one of personal hygiene only.
I am most grateful, Dr. Flynn, but I'm particularly grateful to hear that the young lady you examined is doing so much better.
I didn't examine her, no. I merely consulted with her.
All the same, isn't that so?
From what I can see, she appears to be on the road to recovery.
Excellent.
Here are my statement of fees and expenses.
Mr. Lee will draw you a check.
Space. L-shaped. Tetras. Time seeking. Somewhere.
So,
We do not have to accept injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence those who wish to profit from our patronage. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wiley, and thanks to the New Jersey Consumers League for another job well done. This concludes our program for this evening. I don't think we have any time for questions. We will hope you join us next door for some light refreshments.
You want anything?
Yeah, my throat's a little dry.
Can I help you, miss?
I'm here to see Miss Wiley.
You're not a member of the Women's Club?
No, ma'am.
Are you a guest member?
No, ma'am, Miss
Then
Wiley.
I'm sure Miss Wiley would have to see her regular business hours.
I'm not leaving till I see Miss Wiley.
It's all right, Mrs. Middleton. It's fine. You must be Miss Fry.
Yes. When you said that the health department told me I should see you, I know I should have stopped by your office, but I've missed so much work lately, and I can't miss no more.
No need to apologize. Please, sit down.
Me and Catherine, we wrote to the company about our troubles, but we never heard nothing back. So we reached out to a couple lawyers, but they said they can't do anything because it's been so long since we left the Radium plant. Something about the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right, but then one lawyer said he would sue anyhow, except he wants $1,000 up front. I've already spent everything I saved my wedding on doctors and dentists and hospital bills, and I still don't know what's wrong with me exactly. And Tom, that's my fella, he said he don't care, he just wants to get married anyhow. And I'm saying, what good would I do for him like this, Miss Wiley? I just want to settle my debt and get my compensation, and maybe I wouldn't feel like I'm saddling Tom with such a burden. I'm so sorry to rattle on you like this. I'm just so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Miss Demi at the health department said the Consumers League has clout.
I'd like to think so. We've certainly had our fair share of successes.
So you think you can help us?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, just how far are you willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find you a lawyer, someone willing to take it on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay unless you won. Would you be willing to sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now suppose the company says, here's some money for you, Miss Fryer, only you're to tell no one about what we've agreed to. You're to say nothing about how you got sick.
Keep it quiet, you mean?
Yes?
That don't seem right.
Listen, right, that's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No. No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So what do I have to do?
Start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1. You want her to talk to the newspaper?
Not just one newspaper. Many, many newspapers.
Is that really necessary? All we want is for Grace to get her compensation.
It's all right, Tommy. Let her finish.
I understand your concerns, but the U.S. Radium Corporation has already shown it's willing to go to extremes to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way we'll get them is to hit them where it matters most, their public image. When every newspaper in America tells your story, how you suffered, how you were sorely treated, how the company denied all responsibility, believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reeder will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's a little frightening.
It's all right. Right now, I'm more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hold on to that anger. Only, be sure no one else sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer. That is our greatest weapon. And the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4th, 1927. Jack Youngman for the New York Ledger.
Nancy Denholland for the graphic.
On the strange case of the Radium Girls.
Who claim they're poisoned at the hands of their employers.
And now seek their day in court.
$250,000.
That is the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000.
Ask me, it's all a sham. What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
They don't work in sure. Doctors say Radium Girls only have a year to live.
1 year left to live and $250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money?
What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I buy wardrobe like Armenian castles.
I'd give it all to charity.
Then I'd travel the world, first class with all my friends.
I'd play the stock market. I'd buy my wife a fur coat and a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills. Then pay off the second mortgage on my house my dad took out for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home, suffering bravely through this whole ordeal, struggling valiantly to keep up her flagging spirits for the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile, but I try to smile. I know if I don't smile, I'll go crazy.
How does it feel, Miss Fryer, knowing you have so little time left?
I try not to think about it, but it must get to you sometimes.
Knowing what you've been through?
And the company's getting fat off your labor.
And all they have to say about it is,
No comments.
Don't you just want to punch somebody?
Oh no, that would do no good. I just think about what it'll be like when justice prevails. Maybe they could do something nice for the folks, send them on a trip. They never did have a honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood. We can only aspire to bear our cross in life as nobly as this young
What's your proposal? $1,500. $1,500?
Not even a year's wages.
We think it's very generous, considering your case won't survive the statute of limitations. This is a case with equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion. The Chancery Court can't rewrite the law. And the law is clear. 2 years from the date of injury. Your clients are out of time. 2 years from the cause of the injury is discovered. Very creative, Mr. Mary. Very clever. Who's admired your imagination. But you've a long way to go before you convince the judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take great interest in this story and the company's complete indifference to its workers.
No doubt that'll prove to be good press for the Consumers League, and you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding behind the statute of limitations.
Hiding, Miss Wiley?
You know very well the law never anticipated a situation like this. These girls were getting sick years before anyone knew the cause.
Anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or I should say if, this case goes to trial. I only hope that's your opening argument, Mr. Barry. You will have made your defense. See you at the hearing.
The arrogance of that man!
What is the purpose of these articles again, Miss Wiley?
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. That is the engine of reform.
You're antagonizing the company.
Then the strategy is working.
How would it feel for these girls to read in a dozen different magazines that they have little time to live?
Mr. Barry, surely you can see. The U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls it has poisoned, but the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply. So do millions of other women across the country. These women shop. They buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the Consumers League campaign will only lead to one outcome, and he knows it. That is why he was here today.
I only hope you're right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Dear Miss Fryer, it's with great concern Dear Miss Fryer, it's disheartening to see your selfish pursuit
Dear
of
Miss
evil
Fryer,
action.
for your
Dear Miss Fryer,
Dear Miss Fryer,
Dear Miss Fryer,
Dear Miss Fryer, Dear Miss Fryer, Dear Miss
Dear Miss Shaw, I heard of your sad story in the Boston Globe, and I'm so sorry for your plight. It seems this time of rapid advancement, the average well-being of average worker is overlooked. I would like to share with you girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It's called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Fryer, I read of your woeful situation in the Atlanta Constitution, and I am prepared to offer you a solution. Venison. Venison is an all-natural wonder tonic made from natural ingredients. Venison will restore your health and vitality. We are prepared to offer you a lifetime supply of events in exchange for the exclusive rights to use your pictures in our advertisements.
Dear girl, I wrote about you in the Bill and Gazette. I run 100 head of cattle up here and I do very well for myself. I'm more than able to offer you a comfortable home in your final hours. A girl like you has suffered so much. Don't you think you deserve a few fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Enclosed in my
picture. Catherine, look at this. This man actually sent a picture.
Catherine, are you alright? Bleeding again.
Shall I get the nurse?
I did it before. You don't stop.
Maybe I should go.
No, don't go.
Don't you need to sleep?
Who can't sleep? I never sleep.
You'll sleep tomorrow.
Yeah, I know, wake up.
Of course you'll wake up.
Not if it don't go well. Sometimes you don't come out of it so good. My mother's cousin, she went into the hospital for her appendix, and she never came home again.
You just can't think that way, that's all. Miss Wiley said people would root for us, and she sure was right. Look at these letters. One of them was from her.
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
What if we don't? My father will lose his house, we'll be on the street, you'll be on the street too, and your father was out thousands, and you told him he won't never get married.
Catherine. As soon as the judge hears our testimony, he'll root for us. It'll be over in a day.
You think so?
I mean, it'll be awful hard to ignore in this state, don't you think?
Well, it'll be something then. To see the look in Mr. Reader's face after we get on the stand.
There. Now, want to read some more letters?
They didn't have no chocolates, so I got vanilla.
Took you long enough.
Don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me, all of them reporters, all of them asking for you.
Yeah, waiting for me to die.
No one is waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother asking if I have died, and when she said no, they sounded disappointed.
Here, eat some of this. It'll make you feel better.
Good evening, girls. How about a picture?
For the love of Mike, what are you doing?
We're here to get some pictures for the graphics exclusive on the girls.
Exclusive? What are you talking about?
$5,000. What do you say, Grace? Do you think we could use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Perhaps you are familiar with Bernard McFadden.
Who, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Carter. Herbalist. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just the thing to get these girls back on their feet, and the graphic will pay for it. All we ask are the exclusive rights to your story from here on out. See for yourself.
You want to pay us to talk to this Bernard McFadden? Easy money, huh?
Let me see that.
They're serious, Grace.
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Grace, how much does your father own the house?
I don't know exactly.
And that last hospital bill, that was a couple hundred at least.
At least.
Maybe we should think about this.
And all we do is to talk to this herbalist fella.
For sure, we'll have to get our money's worth. A regular series of features with pictures following the course of your treatment, illness recovery, or otherwise, depending on how it goes.
And then you'll just print whatever you want.
Maybe we'll add some color. Everybody adds color.
Don't sound so bad.
Maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about it.
Miss Wiley? What's it to her? You're the one with bills to pay.
It wouldn't be right to do something like this without talking to Miss Wiley.
You're a big girl, Grace. Can't you make your own decisions?
Of course I can make my own decisions.
You're gonna talk to the reporters anyway. Why not get something out of it?
He's right, you know. There's no reason you girls shouldn't get anything out of this. Trust me, you girls can cash big. The day you run the feature on you guys, bang! Sold out every copy at every newsstand. Everybody can sympathize with the plight of some poor sick girl facing certain death with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
I'd like you to leave now. My friend is tired. She needs to rest.
Grace, at least think about it.
For sure, think it over. I understand you're worried about what people will say, but hey, you gotta think about your own interests here. No reason to get anything out of all of this. Everybody else is out to get what they can, for sure. But why should you sit back and keep your nose clean when everybody else is up to their elbows in it?
I'll keep the time, little boy, you said begging. fixing mess. I'm writing checks to keep on living. Keep on living, living, living.
Gentlemen, I have treated a number of girls who claim they got sick here. One of them, the girl shot rotted so bad, I was able to remove it just by lifting the bone from her mouth. As you can see.
Oh, that's all right, Dr. Neff. You can put that away.
Perhaps you'd rather look at it on the x-ray. Now, this was an expensive case to treat, and I never did get no compensation. The girl died. Her family never paid.
I sympathize, Dr. Neff, but what has this to do with us?
Here it is straight. There'll be a lot more girls coming out saying they got sick here. So, maybe we can do business. I scratch your back, you scratch mine, that sort of thing.
I'm not following you.
Well, suppose you was give me a list of girls who worked here, I'd see to it there were no more lawsuits.
You think you could cure them?
Oh, I could put out a cure, no. I'm saying, I scratch your back, you scratch mine.
How so, Dr. Neff?
Well, I'd examine them for radium necrosis and come out with a favorable diagnosis for you. Pyorrhea, say, or something else. Quite a few cases will just die a natural death anyway, and the rest you can put off till the statute of limitations kicks in and it's too late to sue.
You'll persuade them they haven't got a case against the company.
Exactly. And if it did go to court, I'd testify with some other problem. There'd be strong testimony coming from the dentist that treated them.
But what makes you so sure these girls will come to you?
Oh, they'll come to me quick if I don't charge them nothing.
Because we'd be paying you.
Exactly right. We understand each other, Mr. Reader.
What exactly are you asking for, Dr. Neff?
Well, I'd need $10,000 for my trouble so far, and every girl I'd agree to see from here on out. $2 per visit, plus expenses for the x-rays. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement here. Better off if it's not in writing.
No.
Well, all right, we'll put it in writing.
We will do nothing of the kind. Your proposal is immoral and we will have nothing to do with it.
Immoral, you say? You're a fine one to be talking about morals.
Mr. Lee!
When you have your own iron guns ready to testify.
Those are expert witnesses.
Expert witnesses! Paid lackeys is more like it. And nothing's got the dirt I got. If you're smart, you'll play ball with me. Believe me. There's plenty of other folks interested in this information.
You're threatening me?
Well, just a business proposition, Mr. Reader. Just looking out for my own interests. Same way you look out for yours.
Mr. Lee, see Dr. Neff to the door.
All right. You want to play ball with me, fine. Well, believe me, where all this shakes out won't be me holding the short end of the stick.
Gentlemen, I want you all to make statements on what happened this morning. We'll send them to State Dental Society, and then Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea. I don't know, perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Neff's proposal.
What do you mean?
It's a very bad situation here, Mr. Reader. That's true. Mr. Lee said you're having trouble getting kids to work there.
Yes, and we've lost contracts because of it.
And it's going to get worse. The papers are full of stories about those girls.
Making them out to be saints.
What defense can we put out?
Except to say we'll try our case in court.
And in the court of the public opinion, we've already lost. Perhaps we should reconsider it. It's hard to have a testimony from a dentist who treated those girls. Perhaps we should retain him.
Retain Neff as what? An extortionist?
As an expert, like Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn is a highly respected professor at Columbia University. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
But Dr. Flynn treated some of those girls, didn't he?
He didn't treat them, he consulted with them.
He dispensed medical advice, Arthur.
It wasn't medical advice, it was an expert's opinion, a scientific opinion.
We should retain Neff, but not put him on the stands, just so we can keep him from testifying to the women. That's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree. That's the most important thing. Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader? Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader.
Edward! We can't possibly do this. We can't get into bed with a man like Neff.
Arthur's right. We don't want to do business with Neff. He could hurt us. We have to take steps. Neff has given us everything we need. New evidence, gentlemen. This is grounds for postponement.
Mrs. Drinkor has been following our story very closely in the newspapers, and she was particularly disturbed to see the last article in the Ledger, the one where Mr. Lee says her study clears the company.
He doctored the report. Reader doctored the report.
Apparently pulled out one page listing the blood conditions of a dozen employees and passed docs the whole thing. Doesn't look so bad on its own, does it? But in context, it's a somewhat different picture.
We can use this.
Yes, that should impress the judge.
The judge? I'm not going to wait 3 months to make use of this, Miss Wiley. I want you to call that contact you have at the New York World. If Reader won't let us present our evidence in court, he can read it in the newspaper.
January 12th, 1928. Jack Youngwood for the New York Ledger.
Nancy Jane Holland for the Graphic.
Radium Girls go to court today.
Radium Girls knock on the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor injured girls face pain,
disfigurement,
ruin, and death.
And as the clock ticks away the precious moment,
a hearing begins in the Chancery Court.
The Youth Radio Corporation demands a postponement.
While plaintiff's attorney Raymond Berry makes a shocking disclosure,
showing the company lied to the Department of Labor,
showing it distorted the results of a Harvard study,
showing it concealed the ill effects of its product.
Read about it in the Ledger.
Read it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Very bad?
You didn't read it?
I make a point not to these days.
If only other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell from across the street, she walked right past me this morning, didn't say a word to me. I knew she saw me. And the woman at the market and the green grocer, the way that they glanced at each other. And at the club, Mrs. Middleton and the other ladies, the whispers.
Why don't you put that away? Reading the journal, I saw it here the other day. Why don't you read that?
And at the club today, someone actually had the nerve to say to me, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband poison those women?" I said, "Mrs. Cowles, if you think that is true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly would not associate with a woman whose husband did such things."
Why do you go there then, if that's the way people are?
I've been a member for years.
Well, what do you want me to say, Diane? That I knew we were poisoning people, but we didn't want to stop because we were making too much money. Is that what you want me to
I
say?
certainly don't want you to say such a thing.
Even if it were true? especially if it were true.
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
For God's sake, Diane, don't you see what's going on? It's Von Shishaki. He's behind all of this. He's jealous of our success. He's feeding information to the consumers league so they can railroad us.
Why would the consumers?
Bunch of radical women, do-gooders. Half of them are Reds, probably socialists. Same thing with that club you belong to.
What?
You women think you can go around and fix the world's problems while your husbands go out and make a living. You're going to quit that club.
Quit the club.
And stop talking to that idiot Mrs. Middleton.
You're
She
not
doesn't
making
know
any
anything.
sense.
None of those women know anything. You don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
Didn't lie. I didn't agree with Drinker's results.
Arthur.
I have a fiduciary duty to the company.
I
Diane.
can't listen to this.
I have articles, documents, people with tumors the size of baseball, radiant therapy. The tumors disappear, Diane.
I'm tired. I'm going
We
upstairs.
save lives. We make lives better. Mild radiant therapy invigorates. You can't really think that I'm a liar, can you? You can't really believe that I would set out to poison people, can you? Diane.
No.
Do you think that I would ever do anything to hurt you or hurt Harriet?
Certainly not.
Then
13 girls have died.
people die every day. The newspapers are full of death notices. Young, old, infants, children, younger than Harriet die every day.
But they worked for you.
But they also worked other places. I have a report from Columbia University, an expert in industrial hygiene, just like Drinker, who says there is no connection between our plants and the illnesses. Do you want to see the report?
Then what could the cause be?
I don't know. I really don't know. I've done everything I could to find out. Nobody knows. Just please say you believe me. If you don't believe me, then there's no point to anything.
Artie.
Do you remember the day I told my father I wasn't going into the ministry? What you said to me that day?
You could do as much good in a boardroom as you can in a church.
You remember?
You think I would forget?
Such a scared kid, and he was an idol. If it weren't for you, I don't think I could have stood up to him.
I'm sure you would have, Artie. I know you would.
And ever since then, he's been looking for signs that my soul is lost. You don't think that, do you? That my soul is lost?
You're a good man, Artie.
We save lives.
You save lives.
It's all for you. You know that? Don't you? Everything I do, it always has been.
I know.
Don't let that be another reporter. Just don't answer it. Arthur!
Is that Mr. Lee?
Charlie, for God's sake!
I just got off the telephone with someone from the ledger.
And this couldn't wait until morning?
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Mr. Lee?
It's Dr. Lehman.
Dan?
He's dead, Arthur.
What?
He died this morning.
Charlie, that's not possible. I just sent him last week.
He was just here a month ago. For cards, he was just here.
Martlin's already done the autopsy. He says it was severe anemia.
He's blaming the radium.
Someone from the ledger told me they're going to run it on page 1. I told them we would have issue a statement by 8 o'clock. That's when they need it by, so they can run it tomorrow.
One of the services?
I'm sorry?
The services.
I don't know.
We'll send flowers, Diane.
Of course. I'll call Louise.
That's right. Call Louise.
I should go over and see her. Oh, poor Louise. We should go see her right now.
I wouldn't do that.
Whatever, not.
She's planning to sue.
Louise?
She's filing a wrongful death action. Company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health, recently in decline.
But Dan was never sickly. He was always on the golf course or sailing or their garden. Artie kept a beautiful garden.
Charlie, can we continue this in the morning?
Of course. I'm sorry to bring you the bad news, Mrs. Reader. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lee.
Charlie can be a bit excessive at times. I don't know what we'll say. We have to say something. The stockholders will expect it.
You needn't explain, Artie.
Sometimes it's necessary.
It's all right. You needn't explain. We're going to throw this away now.
There's half a box under the sink.
We'll get rid of that too. We'll have no more of it in the house. I'll do it.
Diane? I'm too far in to quit.
I really didn't expect you to.
I check the window, there's nothing shining in the sky. How we ever gonna get them rays and gonna see flash before I die?
February 21st, 1928. To Raymond Berry, from Harrison Martland, Medical Examiner, Essex County. We've examined the remains of the deceased Amalia Maja. Our studies revealed the following radioactive substances have been found in large quantities in the lower jaw, upper jaw, and lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive.
Bones of dead girls kick off gamma rays.
Catherine Wiley, Consumers League declares. New evidence shows. Company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neck, a New York dentist who treated Amalia, has turned over the portions of the jawbone he removed from her mouth. This X-ray film shows that the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after the girl died.
Will this make your case?
Will this push a settlement? Make our case. No, this man will make our case.
Last night, in a graphic exclusive, founder of the Radium Corporation breaks his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Dr. Mashishaki, is it true you assisted in the autopsy?
Yes, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Maggi has absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
Doctor, what does it say for Mount radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
Radium is the reason for the deaths of the poor girls, and it should be considered the most dangerous substance.
Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis that the Radium Girls only have 1 year left to live?
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long.
I'll tell you what we should have done. We should have took them up on their offer when we had the chance. That's what we should have done.
$5,000? Don't make me laugh.
And I'll tell you what else we should have done. We should have talked them up too, because I'll tell you what, they'd have paid. And I'll tell you what else we should have done.
Stop talking about things we should have done. There's lots of things we should have done. It's too late to talk about them now.
All right, put your shirt on.
Which do you like? The pink or the blue?
So it's Barry. Is he gonna go back to the company?
I like the pink, it just don't fit so good these days.
Is he gonna try and talk them up a bit?
Miss Wiley thinks another interview will do, so I'm just saying what's one more, you know?
What if they came up to 5,000? You take it then?
Let them come up, I'm not caving in.
It's called a settlement.
A settlement is just a way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
But then they win.
So they win. They're gonna win anyway.
Nice you got so much confidence in me.
Grace, you have one lawyer working for nothing up against 6 lawyers who are all getting a bundle. And you really think you got a chance?
You know what I found out? They put LED screens in the laboratory for the technicians. You think they gave us LED screens?
Jesus.
100 girls in a room, and you think they're gonna spend that kind of money on us? And you know what else Miss Wiley said? They said they're gonna close down here and move across over to New York and act like none of this ever happened.
Grace! What are we doing here? I thought our plan was you get some money, you pay off your debts, get a better doctor, and we just get on with things.
Get on with things?
You're still wearing my ring.
Oh, Tommy.
Grace, there's a house for sale in my brother's neighborhood. Churns up, churns down, it's not much, but it's a start. You like it, it's already got flower wallpaper. Best of all, it's only 2 blocks from the school.
A school? What do we need with a school?
Plan ahead for once.
Tommy, what do you think is gonna happen when this is all over? Do you think it's just gonna go back to the way it was?
Why wouldn't it?
I have to see the surgeon again.
Uh-huh.
I have some fluid and he's gonna drain it.
Okay.
And then there's more.
Then we'll deal with it when it comes.
And there's more and still more. Why? Why can't you see that? How can you talk about buying houses and getting married when you know
Grace! I can't think about that right now. All I want is to come home to you, to my wife. I promise, Grace. I'll do everything I can to make it easy on you.
Here.
What?
I should have given it back to you a long time ago.
I don't want it.
Tommy, please.
Great. You just need to get some sleep, Grace. You're tired, that's all.
No.
I'll be back to check on you in the morning.
No, Tommy!
You get some sleep,
Tommy!
Grace.
Don't do this to me! Tommy!
Soon you're married. Like a fuse. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Love is a promise cover. That's what peace.
Arthur? Oh, Charlie.
Aren't you headed home?
Charlie, I've been thinking it over. I think we're taking the wrong approach here. I think we should settle this case. We've got to make a reasonable offer to those girls.
No, Arthur, we agreed. We need a definitive victory.
Things have changed.
Arthur, I know you and Dan were close, but you can't let this cloud your judgment.
Shaki is going to testify.
You can deal with him.
How?
Put more money in his pocket.
Now you want to bribe him.
Not a bribe, consideration.
Consideration.
For an expert witness. Whatever Barry is paying, we'll make a better offer.
Don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about it.
Let me tell you something, Charlie. A guilty man has a tremendous need to unburden himself. His guilt, it can eat him alive. Don't you see? What Yvonne Shishaki wants is to be free. This is why he's testifying for those girls. This is why he will never testify for us, no matter how much consideration you offer.
Settle with these girls and you'll just settle with all the other ones. Neff was right about that. This is just the beginning.
Tell Markley to get in touch with Barry. Get a conversation going. Come up with a figure that these girls can accept.
Arthur, for God's sake! What are you trying to do to me? Do you want to wipe me out?
We've got to get this off the table.
Every penny I put my last 7 years I've sunk into this company. Why? Because of you. Because you said it was a sure thing. No miss. Why work for Von Shopping when we can work for ourselves? Remember that one? Take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance!
We were fooled. Von Shishaki fooled. That's all. The only thing we can do now is try to clean it up the best we can.
Do this and it's the end.
You're stepping down, Charlie?
Not me.
Well,
don't you know? You're only one vote away from getting you off the board.
And whose vote is that, Charlie?
Have you so little faith in me, Arthur?
You can't get me off the board. You don't have enough votes to get me off the board. I'm still a stockholder.
And still on the hook if this company goes under. Think about that next time your conscience starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1928. To Raymond Barry, attorney at law, from Edward Markley, counsel, U.S. Radium. One of our expert witnesses has encountered a serious scheduling conflict, which makes it impossible for him to testify in April. We have therefore requested an extension until June. As for your request for a settlement, every case involves some humanitarian aspect, so I'm afraid that cannot be the basis for settling this one. But I have no doubt you'll be rewarded for the good work you are doing. If not in this world, then in the next.
behind. Sleeplessly embracing young tip to me, making all this mercy and so
Wake up, Grace! Irene, get off, sleepyhead. You never been caught like this. It's not fair, I'm only 26. I should be married and have my own home by now. We all make sacrifices. I know I did. But why? Why do I have to make sacrifices? It's all for science, Grace. No, Catherine! Don't do that! Oh, Grace, look what you did. She's bleeding all over. I'm so sorry, Catherine. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Oh well. What's one more dead child, Peter?
Grace, Mr. Markley's gonna be here any minute.
Mr. Markley?
He's bringing the papers over for you to sign. Did you fall asleep?
Has Miss Wiley been by?
Miss Wiley?
Yeah, but Catherine, has she been by?
She might have.
Don't you know?
Someone came to the door a little while ago. I think your brother answered it. Look, Grace, you gotta get ready.
They took Catherine back to the hospital last night.
I know, dear. I know. But after you've had your talk with Mr. Markley, we'll go over there and see how she is.
I dreamt she died.
Don't speak such things.
If she dies, it's over.
We're 3 months behind the mortgage, Grace.
$5,000 is not even a year's wage.
It's better than nothing, ain't it?
Is that all I'm worth? Better than nothing?
Of course not, sweetheart. But we gotta be realistic. At the rate things are going, you might never get in that courtroom, and if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks he can.
Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctor, and bank, and McCollman. We can't expect folks to treat us like charity just because you got sick.
I don't want charity, Ma. I just want what's owed to me.
I know it feels like you're letting Catherine down, but if she took up the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't. Now we'll take the check and pay the bills and whatever's left. You and Tommy can have. A little something to get started with.
There's nothing to get started, Ma.
Why do you have to be so hard on Tommy?
I have to face it. Why can't he?
Can't you see? You just can't face the thought of you not being with us.
I have to face it. Why can't he?
Do something with your hair, Grace.
$250,000, Miss Fryer. What would you do with $250,000? Well, I can't even imagine. No point to it. Ma, you never said I had mail. New Mexico, huh? They just keep writing. Ma! Miss Riley was by. She was here this morning. Ma!
Miss Fryer, Edward Markley.
Ma said you have papers.
Yes, the terms spelled out as we explained in our letter. $1,500 to you. I have a check right here. All we need is your signature.
Grace, Mr. Markley's a very busy man.
Please, look it over carefully. If you prefer, I can leave it here and come back later.
No. We'll do this now.
What's hold harmless?
You agree to hold the company harmless for any further action.
No more lawsuits.
Yes.
Is that just me or everybody else in my family?
Your entire family. It precludes a wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential statement.
Yes.
You never said anything about it being confidential.
That's standard for most legal settlements, Miss Fryer. We like to protect our privacy. And your privacy also. It cuts both ways. You agree to keep silent about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
That seems fair.
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained the terms of the settlement to you.
I don't mind.
What's contributory negligence? It wasn't in these papers, it was in the other ones you filed. And the lawsuit? It said the Radium Company defense was contributory negligence and the statute of limitations.
Don't understand what you're asking, Miss Fryer.
I mean, it's our fault, don't it?
It's a standard defense, Miss Fryer. I wouldn't take it personally.
How else can I take it?
Mr. Markley, Grace is an awful headache all day. If you could just leave the papers, she'll sign them later.
Why did you tell me Miss... Maybe he could just answer the question.
Why are you doing this?
Why did you tell me Miss Wiley was by?
You already made up your mind. She's only trying to talk you out of this.
What did she say about Catherine?
Just leave the papers.
What did she say about Catherine?
She says it doesn't look good.
maybe you can just answer the question. Because let me tell you, I quit school when I was 15 to work in your factory. My folks needed the money, so I went to your factory. You told us how to do it and when to do it, and I never asked questions. My folks didn't raise me to cause trouble, so I didn't. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
As I said, it's a standard offense.
There's nothing standard about what happened to me.
We deeply regret your situation, Miss Fryer, but there is no evidence to tie your condition to any actions by the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
It's a humanitarian gesture.
A humanitarian gesture?
I'll take those papers.
Month after month you put us off, delay after delay. No matter how sick or tired or desperate we were, humanitarian, you're just waiting for us to die.
Grace, please stop this now.
Mom! One by one, I watch my friends get sick and die in the most horrible ways, and I'm supposed to be grateful for any spare change they can throw at me?
Miss Fryer, this is a very generous offer under the circumstances, and I would advise you to take it, because it won't be on the table for very long.
What do you mean?
If Miss Fryer does not sign within 24 hours, we will be forced to withdraw our offer permanently.
Grace!
He's lying.
I beg your pardon, miss?
You're saying if I say no now, but I come back a week later and say I changed my mind, you still rather go to court? You'd rather take the chance of a judge looking at me and me winning on just sympathy alone? 24 hours? You're just trying to bully me.
Very well then, Miss Fryer. I will take that for a no, and we will see you in court.
Yes, you will. You and Mr. Reader both. You have to carry me in there.
You're calling me back!
I'm going to court, Ma.
What are you trying to do? What's that gonna prove?
I want them to look at me. I want them to look at me and explain to me how it's my fault I got sick in their factory.
And what's it gonna get you, huh? What?
Ma! All my life, I've been doing what other people told me to do. I quit school because you told me to. I put that paintbrush in my mouth because Mrs. McNeil told me to. I never said, please, can I finish school? I never said, I don't like the taste of that paint. Even though I knew, Mom. I knew. I'd lay there in my bed at night and see my dress hanging in the back of the closet, all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my hairbrush and my comb on the dresser, so much light, Mom. So much light. And I never asked questions. I didn't ask once. Don't you see? They knew I wouldn't. That's what they were counting on.
Still got a ticket to buy. I won't be walking away. Feel I'm rid of the world. I won't get another one, won't get another one, won't get another one, won't get. Well, I was saying hallelujah.
I left messages with your housekeeper. I know you got those messages.
As we are no longer in business together, I figured it best not to respond.
Is that what this is about?
Perhaps a cup of tea will calm your nerves.
You never told us that the paint was dangerous. You never said a word about it. Not to me, not to Dan.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. You invented the paint and you didn't know. How can you lie like that?
I didn't know until it was too late, Arthur.
I should put you through that wall.
Perhaps you should, but you will not. You'll sit down, calm yourself, and have some tea.
I was not the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yeah, I was a technical man. Sit down, Arthur.
I sold watches, for Christ's sake. I was a salesman.
Oh, a very good salesman at that. Very good head for the business you had. Not so good the science, but for the business. Always you find a way to cut the cost without losing quality. That's a gift, Arthur. Now, will you have some tea?
Jesus Christ! What's the matter with your hands?
They've been that way for some time now.
What have you been dipping them in ink?
Dipping them in ink? Oh, how fond of the pretty story you are. No, if only it was ink. Dr. Martlin tells me it's a necrosis of the tissue. The cells, they're dying. The dial painters, the jaws have started with me, the hands.
I had no idea.
No reason why I should have. We haven't seen each other in a long time, Arthur.
How long?
But I've known for some time. Miss Wiley from the Consumers League, she persuaded me to assist Dr. Marlin in testing the dial painters for radium exposure. Not a lot of people around who could do that, you know. So they came to me, knowing I had the equipment and, of course, the skill. So we did some expired air tests on the girls, and it was then my own breath registered radioactive in my fingers. We had to turn black. Now, you wish to have words with me?
I'm sorry.
This look familiar?
It's a promotional piece.
An excellent promotion. How many new sales did that book account for?
I didn't track it exactly, but I'd like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Page 96. Read it to me.
What?
Last chapter.
Last chapter? Radium. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. Now, tell me, how many articles do you have listed there? 10, 15?
About 18, it looks like.
And how far back do those articles go?
I don't know.
Read one, the first one there.
1906.
1906. Now, let me see. You plan to go into court to testify that you had no idea that the radium was dangerous, when in your own book it says that it was. How do you plan to do that, Arthur?
I never really read it.
What's that?
I never really read it. I hired a man to put it together. I just glanced at the galley set. I never read the book.
Oh, bring your cigarette. Draw me a circle and I'll pretend heaven is here if you want it. Oh, bring your bottle. Open your mouth, pour it down in there. Heaven is here if you want it.
How do you mean you never read the book? It was a standard arrangement. An outside company prepared the piece, which you never read. I think you will find, Mr. Barry, that very few company presidents read their own promotions word for word. It has your name on it. You signed off on the book's release, and you had full approval of the content. Mr. Lee was responsible for our promotional efforts at the time. I entrusted those activities to him. Now, Mr. Reader, you testified that you started with the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918. Yes, as plant manager. And you held this position for how long? 4 years. During those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio? Every day. Every day. So you must have observed these girls pointing brushes to their lips. I don't recall. So you're telling me you never saw a single girl point a brush to her mouth? I said I don't recall. You don't recall! What do you recall, Mr. Reader? You're an awfully young man to have such a faulty memory. Objection! I withdraw. No more questions.
Your witness, Mr. Markley. We have no questions for this witness, Your Honor. All right, gentlemen, please approach. I am ready to issue my ruling. Your Honor, we have yet to present our defense. I realize that, Mr. Markley, but this proceeding is to determine standing. Now, I've heard enough these past 2 days to come to that decision. The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing source of poison in their systems. Nothing your witnesses can say can change that fact, can it? Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the company could not have known about the danger. Mr. Markley, in the interest of justice, I'm asking that the defense rest without calling any witnesses. We can conclude this hearing today and schedule the case for trial. All right, Your Honor. Fine. I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted and these girls have standing to sue. Your Honor, one thing. I have a very full schedule with 2 other cases pending, and a key expert witness cannot be available until the end of the summer. We can't be available until September.
Your Honor!
I'm very sorry, Your Honor. but our chief expert witness is associated with an institution of higher learning. This is the busiest time of year for him, and I cannot expect him to appear.
Mr. Barkley is responsible for that situation. He is the one who has demanded continuous delays.
Your Honor, we have just agreed to waive our right to present witness at this hearing. Surely you won't force us to present our defense at trial without the presence of our key witness.
All right, Mr. Barkley. Trial is set for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Edward, why can't Flynn appear? He's going to Europe. Europe, but he's known about this for months. Why would he? Oh, very clever, Edward. How long do you plan to keep this up?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley.
Mr. Barry, congratulations. I never believed the court would go for it.
You know full well these girls can't wait till September. One is so ill she can't appear in court.
My client has a right to make his defense.
We will not wait, I promise you that. Eventually, we will find room on the docket, and your expert witness be damned.
That girl is still staring at me. I wouldn't worry about it. She thinks that it's personal, that I planned this somehow. How do I make her understand I didn't want this to happen?
You don't. You don't make her understand. You don't talk to her.
She looks like death, Edward.
They all look like death, Arthur.
Grace? Miss Wiley, that man, he won't even look at me. He looks right past me like I'm not even there.
It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
For the New York Graphic.
Jack Youngwood for the Ledger.
Raymond Barry seeks trial date for early summer.
As U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement.
Settlement?
$10,000 cash for each girl and $12 a week for life.
$12 a week?
Read about it in the Ledger, your first source for news. The company also agrees to pay the medical expenses of each girl for the remainder of her life, and the girls have agreed to submit to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Questions?
What led to the settlement?
Was it an admission of responsibility?
What about other pending cases?
It is purely for humanitarian reasons that the U.S. Radium Corporation agreed to this settlement. We admit no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to a close and looks forward to many more years serving its customers and this community. And that's C.B. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley of the New Jersey's Consumers League. Our press statement.
Were you pleased with the outcome, Ms. Wiley?
Finally, these poor girls receive some sort of compensation for their suffering. But more importantly, the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to public awareness.
Thank you, Ms. Wiley.
And by the way, the spelling is Catherine with a K and Wiley with one I.
Well, Edward, it looks like we're back in business. What's your game plan? Didn't I tell you? I've got a buyer for the tailings that have been piling up behind the building on Eldon Street. Oh? Some contractor in Montclair wants a little infill. That's perfect.
None of my friends up here.
You were right.
It's quiet up here. Yup. Guess you're here to rest in peace. This is the place to do it, huh?
I guess so.
What do you call that?
Watercolors, but I'm kind of weak when it comes to landscapes.
No. Good, Grace. It's good. It's nice.
It was the first thing about the settlement money. I got some oils too.
Big spender.
And then I bought a car.
I didn't know you knew how to drive.
I can't. My brother's gonna teach me. He drove me up here today.
Grace, if you wanted to learn how to drive, I'd teach you.
You have other things to do now, Tommy.
You know about that.
Orange just isn't that big.
There's no hard feelings then?
Oh, honestly, Tommy, you think I have time for that?
I'm glad it worked out for you, Grace. Are you glad? I mean, you don't feel like you backed down too soon, do you?
I didn't back down. They backed down.
Papa? It was over here.
Oh, not this again.
This is where I saw her that last time.
This is morbid, Papa.
I stood here for a long time. She didn't notice me at first, but then something made her look up.
Oh my.
No wonder Mama won't go for drives with you anymore, if this is how you spend your Sundays.
I saw her looking at me and I looked away.
It's just like at the courtroom that day. He can't bring himself to look at me.
Retirement isn't good for you. You need to find another hobby.
My heart started pounding, Harriet. I never knew what I would say to her if I had the chance, and suddenly, there she was, and I had my chance.
So what did you say?
I couldn't bring myself to speak.
It's as if he's afraid of me.
I had my chance, and I couldn't speak.
He is afraid of me.
Oh, Papa, that was years ago. Why don't you just forget about it? It's not like it was your fault. Nobody knew about things back then. Science just wasn't as advanced the way it is now.
I think back on those days and I try to think, how could it have happened? I remember so clearly climbing the stairs to the studio at Alden Street. And at the top of the stairs, those wide, high windows, and the slants of lights, and the way it hit the floor, and the way the floor creaked under my feet, and the smell of the place, chalky, like an old schoolroom. And all those girls, schoolgirls really, all bent to the task in their plain green smocks, their delicate little hands moving so quickly. No man could ever work the way those girls did, so careful, so fast. Those brushes flying from the dials to the paint to the dials to their lips. Try as I might, Harriet, try as I might, I cannot remember their faces. I never saw their faces.
Walking around. Woke up, we all on the show.